The other day I got a question about easy runs and whether or not you should be doing them on a hilly course. And this question really resonated with me because I remember having this exact question myself. When I had first started running, when I was on my high school cross-country team, I asked my coach about this. And I want to talk about it today. I want to talk more about easy running, the goals of these easy-paced runs, and whether or not you can run on more hilly terrain for your easy days, when the goal of these days is just an easy effort. First, let's understand that easy runs are not actually at a specific pace. So when you hear any coach talk about easy pace, what they're really talking about is an easy effort, because your easy pace actually isn't a pace, it's an effort. It really is whatever perceived effort that you're experiencing out there when you're running. As long as that feels very easy to you, then it's easy. And we use perceived effort because that's actually the goal of easy runs, because easy is actually an effort, it's not a pace. And it's impacted by so many other things, like the weather. It's impacted by how much sleep you got the night before. It's impacted by your caffeine levels that you might have in your bloodstream right now. I know for me, yesterday I went out on a run and I was running slow. I didn't feel very good and I was wondering why. And I realized I didn't finish my cup of coffee. So if you are used to running on caffeine, you're not going to be running as quickly if you don't have it than if you did. And that is just one of the many, many factors, like your sleep, like stress, like whatever type of run you might have done the day before. All of those things impact your ability to run on any given day. And if we're relying too heavily on a formal, specific pace, then we might actually force ourselves to run too quickly and defeat the purpose of that easy run. We want to avoid that. So let's remember that easy is actually an effort, not a specific pace. So now that we know all that, can we run our easy runs on a hilly course or a hilly loop? The answer is yes. Let's think about what the goal is of an easy-paced run. An easy run is designed for recovery, and we can pad our weekly mileage with easy-paced running, and we get a lot of benefits from running at an easy, relaxed effort. More mitochondria in our cells, more efficiency. We improve the foundation of general endurance that we have so that the more challenging workouts, the long runs, are a lot easier. So what's important on these easy runs is your overall effort. And because that can change because of a variety of different issues, then your pacing will likely have to change. That's why I want all of my runners, when I'm working with them, to really focus on their effort on those easy days. And if you're running on a hilly course, that's fine, as long as your effort is still at an easy effort. And even if you are running on a hilly course, what I like to tell my athletes is the overall stress level of those runs should be the same as an easy run on flat terrain. So what does that mean? Well, first it means that you're probably going to have to run slower on the uphills. It also means that you're not going to be flying down the downhills, because that has its own host of problems, doesn't it? There's a lot of pounding with that. And even though we don't want to run too fast on our easy runs, we also don't want to run too fast even if it's easy. Just like running downhill very quickly can be, because we're going to incur a lot of muscle damage. Now, let's also remember too that hilly is relative. If you're someone who lives in Kansas and you haven't run up an incline in years, even a very moderately rolling course is going to potentially leave you quite sore. But if you're someone who trains on hills all the time and you're constantly setting vert PRs, a moderately hilly course is not going to be overly stressful for you. So this really comes down to looking at what you have done in the last week to month or so, and then determining whether or not you're capable of running at an easy effort when you're out there on hilly terrain. Because if you haven't run any hills, you should probably stick to flat terrain. But if you're running hills normally, you can probably run on a moderate course and not have any ill effects. That is completely fine. Just remember that hilly is relative. So let's make sure that it's not very hilly for you, for whatever you are comfortable with today. So yes, while I'm saying you can run your easy runs on hilly terrain, provided that the effort stays at an easy effort and that you're not running crazy hills, you're not doing anything that you're not used to and adapted to. I do want to give you some tips and tricks for making these runs a little bit more productive so that your easy runs give you as much recovery as you need so that you are ready to tackle those long runs and those workouts with the intensity you need. First, let's not run any super steep hills. Super steep hills where you really have to just climb or descend very, very substantially. Those are stressful no matter what, even if you do have a lot of experience with a lot of elevation change. So let's avoid the super steep hills when we're out there on our easy runs, and instead we can save those for more specific hill workouts elsewhere in the training program. Our next tip is to avoid running the downhills any faster than what your easy effort really should be. Because when you run fast downhill, you experience a lot of eccentric muscle contractions. That's when your muscle is under load, it's holding up your weight, at the same time that it's lengthening. And if you imagine that I am curling this pen, this is about the extent of my strength, by the way, the lowering of this down, my bicep is getting longer while under load. That's an eccentric muscle contraction. And that is why you feel a lot more sore after hilly races. Those downhill portions of the race where you're trying to run fast, that is what makes you super sore. That's one of the reasons why the Boston Marathon is such a challenging marathon course. So if you are running an easy run and there's a lot of downhills, just take them at a very relaxed effort. You don't have to make up any lost time that you lost on the uphills because, after all, we're not focused on pace right now, we're focused on effort. And while you can do your easy runs on a moderately rolling hilly course because pace isn't very important, when is pace actually very important? It's when we run workouts, when we are doing a faster training session, when we want precise splits to our workouts. That's the time to get on the track. That's the time to stay on more flat terrain if you are really interested in precise workout splits. If pacing is very important to the goal of the workout you're about to do, then let's skip the hill workouts, unless it's a formal hill workout, of course, and then just stay on the flat terrain. You'll get better workout data, and that will better inform your training and your race goals moving forward. And with all this discussion about easy running, you might be wondering, what actually is easy effort in the first place? And if you follow my 3 C's of easy running, you're gonna have no problems at all. Number 1, let's make sure that your easy effort feels controlled. You should feel in control when you're out there running. Sometimes when you're running a workout, you don't feel in control. You feel like you are pushing, you are hanging on for dear life. And those are exactly the feelings that we want to avoid on easy runs. So make sure you feel in control. You should also feel comfortable. Does the pace that you're running, the effort that you're running at, does that feel comfortable to you? It should. It should feel very sustainable in that way. And finally, your easy runs should be conversational. The next time you're out on an easy run, if you're not sure if the effort is easy, just imagine me running beside you and you're telling me a story, a funny story. I like funny stories. And let's just imagine that you have to tell me this story and we have to slow down enough so that you can spit out mostly complete sentences. If you can do that, if your runs are controlled, comfortable, and conversational, you are probably running easy pace. So I hope this is helpful to help you plan your easy runs, because easy runs and recovery runs, these are really easy things to mess up in our training. It is very easy for us to go out there and run too fast. So when in doubt, simply slow down a little bit. Yes, you can kind of run too slow on easier recovery days, but that problem is just not really a problem compared to runners going too fast on their easy days. I find that to be much more common. So as you're planning your easy runs, as you're planning your training schedule for this upcoming spring and summer season, I hope that you use this to really get the most out of these easy runs, because you really do almost ruin the purpose of these runs by going too fast. Let's make sure they are easy. Let's make sure the stress levels of these runs are relatively low, whether or not they have hills, so that you can recover properly and be ready for those harder sessions to come. And if you do need help planning additional things in your training, like when to plan your tune-up races, how long your season should be, how to choose tune-up races, then we have a season planner worksheet that you can download in the link below this video. We'll include a card up here as well. And this is a worksheet that you can fill out that goes through your goals, what kind of race you might be training for, and then offers suggestions on the type of season that you can plan for yourself. I hope you find it helpful. And in the meantime, I would so appreciate a thumbs up and a comment under this video on how you keep your easy runs easy.